The Flint water crisis.
In Flint, Michigan's decaying rust-speckled vestiges, an almost Shakespearean tale of misfortune and farce unfolded in 2014. A city once bursting with ambition and resilience now gagging on its toxic inheritance. The Flint water crisis wasn't merely a mistake, it was a grand grotesque display of mismanagement, systemic negligence, and environmental catastrophe. Welcome to the front row seats of a modern American tragedy. Flint's water travails didn't spring forth overnight. They were meticulously cultivated over decades of industrial neglect and economic decay. The Flint River, once a beacon of potential, had transformed into a vile and chemical-infested vein, hemorrhaging industrial ruins into the city's lifeblood. The collapse of the automotive industry in the 80s left Flint's economy as lonely as a ghost town, with its population shrinking faster than a wool sweater in a hot wash. Poverty soared, homes lay abandoned, the city, like a derelict sitcom set, was crumbling away. By 2011, as Flint's finances devolved into a mess, the city fell under the dominion of an emergency manager appointed by Governor Rick Snyder. Picture, if you will, a cost-cutting zealot deciding that the city's water would be safer, more economical, and oh so financially savvy if sourced from the notoriously contaminated Flint River. Thus, in 2013, this brilliant decision heralded a water crisis that would put the most ludicrous dystopian fiction to shame. The city's beleaguered residents quickly realized something was amiss. The water, more befitting a murky bog than a refreshing drink, was an immediate red flag. And what did the officials do? They minimized, deflected, and enacted a nothing-to-see-here performance. Meanwhile, Virginia Tech researchers and Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha, Flint's public health savior, began to unravel the grotesque truth. Lead levels in children were surging. The city's youth, those bright-eyed future citizens, were sacrificed on the altar of governmental incompetence. As if lead poisoning wasn't sufficient enough, Flint's water also hosted an unsavory array of other contaminants. Legionnaire's disease made an unwelcome debut, and fecal coliform bacteria joined the fray, turning the crisis into a full-blown environmental apocalypse. The city's deficient chlorine treatment concocted a sinister brew of cancer-causing chemicals. Were this a sitcom, it would be a black comedy, one where nervous laughter is accompanied by the grim awareness that the humor is as dark as the water. Faced with this bureaucratic debacle, its citizens emerged as underdog heroes. With grit and defiance that would make any David versus Goliath narrative seem mundane, they mobilized. They sued, protested, and held the government's feet to the fire. Their efforts allowed bottled water to flow like a desert oasis. Lead pipes were scheduled for replacement, and health programs were initiated. The aftermath was quite the spectacle. 15 individuals faced charges, though the grand prize, Rick Snyder himself, skipped away unscathed. Involuntary manslaughter charges were doled out like consolation prizes. The legal circus continued, leaving many wondering if justice would ever materialize. Flint's water crisis stands as a glaring exclamation mark in the annals of American history. It is a glaring reminder that even in a land of technological wonders and advanced infrastructure, something as fundamental as clean drinking water can be subjected to a comically negligent oversight. The crisis illuminated the crumbling facade of environmental justice and exposed the yawning chasm between the privileged and the marginalized. From Flint, we must extract lessons as harsh as they are crucial. Environmental justice must transcend mere rhetoric. Transparency and accountability must be holy. Our infrastructure, if it isn't up to snuff, will inevitably betray us. And regulations, like the lead and copper rule, need to be as ironclad as they are vigilant. The Flint water crisis isn't merely a somber chapter. It's an epic saga of neglect, injustice, and disaster that demands a sequel of reform and righteous change. May we all learn to evolve and ensure that our next water crisis remains firmly in the realm of fiction.
So, you've managed to endure a slice of the RPTM podcast. We pat ourselves on the back for possibly coaxing a chuckle out of you, but let's be real, we're aiming for the tears here. If, by some twist of fate, you actually found this clip halfway interesting, do us a favor, bestow upon us the mighty power of the thumbs up and grace that subscribe button with your presence.